Okie doke. Let's see if this is coming through loud and clear. And we'll have a talk about whether or not now is a good time to take some profits. And if you're rewatching this later, feel free to skip forward a couple of minutes while we let everyone tune in. And I'll bring up all your comments and questions to have a read through. And I'll bring up. There's a bit of a divide, isn't there, in the community, depending on whether or not you're new or you've been through a whole market cycle. Half the people are debating whether or not they should be taking some profits, and the other half are debating whether or not it's too late to buy Bitcoin for the first time. And this is an exact replay of 2017 almost, isn't it? And hey, we might be setting up to have another crack at a new all-time high after this morning I did a bit of a write-up. Where were we? 8 o'clock now, around here, saying that it all looks bullish and we've exploded for another leg higher to, I think we got over 36,000 on FTX. So some pretty big moves still. Okay, awesome. We've already got 300 watching. I'm going to run through the question in the title of the comments, and we'll take some at the end. I don't want this one to be a long one at all. Nugget, tell us what to do. I'll do my best. General advice for everyone, because you're all different. And yeah, we'll give everyone a little second to tune in. Smash those likes. Do what I'm about to do, and share this on your socials. So I'll just say, come and join us live. And I might put that in the group and the community. Now, have you guys all had trouble with Facebook mucking around with this new format? There is a good little extension that you can get. Is it going to work? No. Refresh it. It's called Revert Site, and it changes it back to the old Facebook format like that, which I prefer. So some of you might be interested in that. There's normally always a good little extension for any problem you've got with your favorite. Just like Twitter, I've got that one's called Good Twitter, and it reverts Twitter back to the old way as well. Okay, that's up. And for all you members as well that aren't on Facebook in the community, let's add that in there. That should give you all a notification and give you all a little preview. There you go. Now you've been behind the scenes. And we'll just give that one a little tag. Take profit. Publish. Bang. Okay, we are away, ladies and gentlemen. Nearly 500 watching. Okay. So if you are brand new and you haven't been through a whole market cycle, I highly recommend you go back and watch some of our older videos, particularly the ones around altcoins, human psychology, trading cycles. A lot of those will be, if you have a search through YouTube, just for those sort of keywords like trading and profits and that, they might pop up. But I know for the members of you on the platform, they're definitely organized into those resources as well. Particularly the altcoins, guys. That is, I think I've also done a free one. Let's go see if we can find this free one. This is really important that you watch these videos and learn from them, because time and time again, people do the wrong thing. So Altcoin Cycles. Yeah, this video here, very few views, probably one of the most important to ever watch. The history of FOMO. It's not new. You know, these cycles that we're about to go through again, they've been going on since 2013, 2014 and 15. There's the altcoin cycles. The big one is 2017, which everyone thinks about. This video here as well, best portfolio structure. So let's just click on this one just really quickly. This video is from September 2019, And I spoke about having, for me personally, pretty big chunk of Bitcoin, pretty big chunk of Ethereum, and then I want to have a scattering of good quality projects from different sizes, as long as they're good projects from those sort of narratives that we like. This was before anyone was talking about decentralized web or gaming or NFTs or DeFi, and we kind of outlined that as what you want to have, and even stable coins to some degree. You can get quite a nice yield on those, and you can rotate them in and buy your favorite projects when there's a big pullback. So you should never deploy 100% of your funds. So that's probably the first little lesson from tonight's video, that if you've got $10,000 to invest in crypto, it doesn't always have to be $10,000 in crypto. You can always be keeping $9,000 in crypto and $1,000 off to the side. That $1,000 can be earning you 10% in a stable coin, getting a yield. And when there's a big dip in your favorite coin and you wish that you had some money, use some of those funds. And when everything bounces back and it's going well, top those funds back up. Don't be afraid to be doing that when you wake up one day and there's one of your projects has just gone gangbusters. You always take a little bit of profit. Now, in the broader big market cycles, there's only really sort of two things that play out generally. When money in a bull market, we have Bitcoin that tends to go, and then the others tend to follow. So generally, some people tell me that even things like Monero have led in the past. I tend to believe it's normally Ethereum or Litecoin, maybe XRP sometimes. They generally all go together, those large cap coins. Bitcoin Cash has as well in the past. So once Bitcoin has gone up a long way, like the current situation, you look at this sort of chart and I know that we can argue about whether or not this weekly RSI matters and this, that, and the other. There's lots of factors that we look at, and it is definitely now probably time where I would say this isn't a good time to be buying Bitcoin. So if you're brand new, don't be afraid to buy a little bit and get started. It might only be buying $50 to learn how it all works. And a lot of the time, people will have wished that they have done that have been in for a while, because you hear stories of people that buy Bitcoin for the first time and they lose it because they didn't understand how the exchange worked, or they didn't understand how the wallets work. They tried to use MetaMask or a MyEther wallet website to set up their hardware wallet. They really have no idea what they're doing. And as soon as you put one foot wrong in crypto, you can lose it all. So it's not always about investing and making the highest returns and picking the best projects. A lot of the time as a beginner, it's about not mucking up, not losing everything, not getting hacked. So unfortunately, it's part of the Wild West. Now, there are some exchanges these days that'll do it all for you. So custody, insurance, and that is a way that I think is going to become more popular. We'll just look at Grayscale. I mean, the Grayscale investment trusts have taken off because that's what they specialize in for their clients. There's a big generation of, baby boomers or whatever it is that have just never had to do any of this. Try talking to people that invest in shares if they had to hold all their own shares. Or if you had to change wallets, or if there was a hard fork, you had to do this, that, or the other. It is a very new concept, being your own bank and being responsible for every aspect of that. So don't be afraid to dive in over on our website. The resources, the beginners course, the knowledge center, that's free. Go over and get stuck into all this stuff, because I promise you it'll just pay off in absolute spades further down the track. So once you've got your head around all the basics, by now you should be comfortable with how to buy some Bitcoin and hold some Bitcoin. And for most people, the best solution is to dollar cost average. And that is just to buy a chunk every week, whatever you've committed to out of your paycheck. If you've got a big pool of funds up front that you want to put in, again, I'd probably recommend splitting that up a little bit to get an average price. Because normally what happens is the most people come into crypto when we've had a big run up like this. And they're the people that will be desperate to dump all their money in. Very few people, no matter how, look, I've been saying this for 9 years now to buy Bitcoin. And very few people ever listen and buy at these times when it's not cool, okay, when it's not popular. When you're telling all your friends that this is a great time to be buying more, if you've still got money, if you've never invested before. Some of you watching this video will have got lucky and just decided that, hey, I've been watching Bitcoin for a year or two and I just happened to put it in somewhere here. Louis happened to be born around here and get a Bitcoin on his birthday. So he is a very, very good investor. Wow, I didn't even realize that. Louis is actually up 1,000% from his investment now. HODL before toddle. That was the hashtag for Louis' first investment. Alrighty, so when these charts go parabolic, there's no way to know what parabolic is, because looking at that now, you can go, oh, that's great, it's parabolic. But remember the week before, or the week before, or the week before, people were saying, oh, this chart's getting steep, it's getting steep. There's no way to know if 20 was the top, 24. So this is where you really do have to put in a little bit of extra legwork if you're trying to time the market. Now, for most people, they shouldn't be trying to time the market. They should honestly be zooming out and thinking about that 5 to 10 year time horizon. And some people, I often tell people that I've never sold, all my Bitcoins ever. And people say, well, why? It went up this much and then it went all the way back down, or, you held some Ethereum over 1,000 and then all the way back down to under 100. But you've got to remember that a lot of people that tried to sell and pick tops and bottoms, they would have never even held their Bitcoin till it got to $1,000 if they were an early investor. Or when Ethereum starts running up from $5 to 50, then to 500, they would have sold well and truly by then. So another one of my rules is that you should never really sell all of it, just like we should never put all our money in. Definitely take your profits along the way. If you've ever made life-changing amounts of money and you've committed to a figure, or, I want to be able to buy a house. And if you ever get to that goal, it doesn't really matter anything else that's happening around you. If that's just something that you've committed to that's going to change your life if you get to it, then absolutely, okay, do that. So only you can really be the judge of what's life-changing money. I've had people that just wanted to buy a road bike so they could get to work each day. That was going to, be huge for them. Other, uni students, all the way up to, cardiologists and that I've worked with who are putting millions of dollars into Bitcoin, and you kind of wonder what their aim is when they're putting millions and millions of dollars into altcoins. But have an aim, have a goal, stick to it, because if you don't, you'll keep moving the goalposts. And no much is ever enough. People that invested $10,000 that might have got up to crazy numbers in 2017, like $900,000, but then they just want to be a millionaire. So there's always a figure that someone says, oh, maybe I just want a little bit more, and they're never quite 100% satisfied. So let's just zoom in and have a look where we are now. Every time we've had a throwback, whether it's been a violent one or just a reasonable one, they've all been very, very quickly bought up. And we know that's because everyone from the exchanges themselves to individual retail investors that are just starting to come in, they use these dollar cost average strategies, or they use bots, or just constant demand. PayPal have got to restock their resources, their reserves. There's just constant buy pressure on the few remaining coins. And we know that there's not a lot of coins remaining. So we know for a fact now that even again this morning, let's head over there and have a look. The actual coin reserves continue to dwindle as everything starts to take off again while I'm doing this live stream. It's fantastic. I hope Ethereum has its turn very shortly. But yeah, just drifting down lower, the total reserves from all exchanges. Now, this was another interesting one. Just that stood out a little bit. We did see a little bit of an inflow of coins. So this is the hourly chart. So here we have the last few days. You can see these big spikes behind me. So look, really healthy. It was just a small percentage of people deciding to take profit. So let's head over. I think I retweeted this. some more great information today from Sentiment. Bitcoin whales have continued to accumulate while we've got, the sort of mid-tier investors now are taking some profits. So there was those mid-tier investors that we saw sending coins to the exchange. Another really interesting fact here is that Ethereum is displaying very similar characteristics to what we saw early on in the Bitcoin cycle as well. Ethereum is now really starting to mirror what we saw in terms of hodled coins, number of coins on exchange, the whales increasing their holdings, 17 new 10,000 plus ETH addresses. These are just awesome statistics. Should give you a lot of confidence. Active addresses as well, network growth. I just love reading through all these metrics. The Grayscale Trust, man, it's all come together. It's so funny, isn't it? There was another thing today. Was it JP Morgan? JP Morgan put out a price target of $36,000 or something like that. To me, that one was so funny because if you've been here since crypto winter, you'll specifically remember that we spoke about how all these big banks, they were all bashing crypto all the time. And then we said that once they build all this infrastructure where they can make profits off all the fees, you watch them put out buy recommendations and put out these high price targets. Once they're ready to capitalize on it, they don't care if it goes up or down. They just want their customers piling in. And hasn't that played out absolutely to a T? This is something else I check every day. The PayPal demand. And this is getting up there towards the record of 110 million. So we're on track for 100 already today. This could be the biggest ever day of retail buying on PayPal, along with the figures we've seen out of Grayscale. The stars are aligning. There's no real reason to think that the top is anywhere near yet until all those things I just checked, along with probably a dozen more that I check every day, and then I'll do my write-up for our members, for our community. So what is going to happen now? What is going to happen next if Bitcoin does stall a little bit? Even though there's no real signs that it's topped, look, personally, I would love it to actually get in a range. Just anything like that would be awesome. And that gives alts time to shine. And we spoke about this in last night's video, that Bitcoin is so big now, a tiny bit of Bitcoin's market cap and profit taking could lead to huge growth for all the altcoins. Now, that rotation of capital can be best viewed with total 2. So this is all crypto assets excluding Bitcoin. Weekly. Okay, so coming up to a little area that I would be keeping an eye on, but that's still another 10% away, maybe a bit of a pullback, and then we keep going. A lot of the large cap alts have already had decent runs. Litecoin led the way, but from there we tend to get a rotation down in market cap size to the mid cap coins, and then the real speculative stuff. And that tends to happen because retail investors come in, they go to the likes of CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, and they look down this list and they say, what's cheap, what's under $1, that's the thing that I want to buy. Time and time again. And someone asked a great question before about Bitcoin and are they ever going to change the units? Because a lot of newbies come in and think, I can't own a whole Bitcoin, but that doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all. If you own 0.1 of a Bitcoin, you're getting the same asset class exposure. If Bitcoin doubles, you double your money. It doesn't matter if you own a whole one or 0.1 of a Bitcoin. You want exposure to Bitcoin. You don't want to buy Litecoin just for the sake of it because you can't afford one Bitcoin. Alrighty. So other ways to take profits. partners page. So let's have a quick talk about how you can take profits. I've got my Ainsley Bullion shirt on at the moment, but you can rotate into your stable coins. You've got gold and silver, you've got OTC brokers. Let's run through, I guess, about the how, when, and why. When will one be better than another? And I want to tell you a little story here as well. All right, so gold and silver. Let's get rid of that. Is Bitcoin rolling over again here? Have we lost our way? I think all these dips are going to be quickly bought up. Okay. Okay, so the different options for taking profits. There was a bit of a story about someone like a crypto enthusiast that's also got their gold and silver that they want to invest in, and they're trying to rotate between the peaks of the gold and silver market as well as taking profits in the crypto market. So there was a time after, I think, was it Bitcoin had this huge run, let's call it June 2019, and I think they rotated into gold and silver. So if we have a look here, like June 2019, taking enormous profits in the crypto market and rotating it into silver when it's $14, that's a fantastic trade. And you can do that. So with Ainsley Bullion, or there's other metals dealers out there, there's different stable coins, different gold and silver backed coins. You can actually do that all from the comfort of your own hardware wallet if you can't do it on an exchange. Now, FTX have got a couple of gold coins. CoinSpot in Australia have got Ainsley's gold and silver coins. There's plenty of ways to do it with crypto, or you could actually go in there and do it with the real bullion. So that is one way that a lot of people don't think about. They tend to think of profit taking and stability as going back into fiat currency. But if we go down this path of all this money printing, then fiat currency is probably going to become worse and worse of a place to sit your capital in. Particularly depending on which country you're in. So that is those options, precious metals. In terms of trying to time it, there's questions coming in. In terms of trying to time it between Bitcoin and altcoins, definitely not unless you're like an expert or an advanced trader. So many people, even again today, reading comments from people that sold it because they thought it was going to go down the next day and then it doesn't, and they buy back higher and then it falls. 90% of people that try and time the market to that degree don't fare very well. So when I'm talking about taking profits, it's more the big macro picture. So we want to try and time somewhere near the top of the ultimate bull market when we have all those factors I just spoke about. In terms of individual coins, that's a lot harder. You've got to definitely keep tabs on your projects. A lot of those will tend to grow with the bull market though as well. So it's no coincidence that every single altcoin topped within a few weeks of each other in January 2018. It didn't matter how different the fundamentals were from one to another. So I definitely think with that whole profit taking thing, it's more about the grand macro themes, and you're going to have probably Bitcoin peak in a super cycle, and then probably altcoins peak afterwards in some sort of altcoin super cycle. The money rotates between them a little bit, but really don't overthink it. You want a dollar cost average in, dollar cost average out. Always be taking little bits of profit whenever we have big spikes, and sometimes that might be an individual project that you go, wow, I didn't realize that's up 1,000%. None of my other coins have really moved. You've just got to be patient and come to terms with the fact that different parts of your portfolio are going to succeed at different times. So you should expect that all of these will run at the exact same time, even though they tend to in those market cycles. You know, let it have periods where one is quieter than the other, and that shouldn't phase you, because over time, that grand macro cycle, that's the thing to really focus on. That's been half an hour there, guys. Let's have a quick look at some of these comments. Sunday night presentation. No, I just had a week or two off over Christmas and New Year's. Michael Saylor's comments. Which comments were they about? Bitcoin could be putting in a sort of a bit of a throwback here that I want to see if it does get aggressively bought up. Yeah, you look at the weekly chart, and like I said, it would not be a bad thing at all here for Bitcoin to start to range, at least, because it's just been parabolic. So that would give everything else a chance to shine. Michael Saylor said, "Oh, who's dumb enough to sell me Bitcoin?" Yeah. Tax, we'll do a whole episode on that. A lot of beginners are so focused on short time frame. Ultimate cash out strategy. So yeah, you can pick up the phone and ring a broker like Caleb and Brown, or you can just get set up and prepared to do it yourself. You know, you should understand how to use an exchange, the coin spots of the world, if it's your altcoins or Binance's, or go into a stable coin. Uniswap. There's so many options these days. For larger amounts, it's more about getting into maybe getting out of all your alts into Bitcoin, and then going to the broker to get rid of all your Bitcoin. Otherwise, most exchanges can handle all your sell orders. And I did get ambushed today with questions. Yeah, more Red Fox news out yesterday. Benny put out a video if you want to go watch that. And remember, everyone's been begging for a dip. They finally get one, and then they don't want to buy. Yeah, I think Ripple is in trouble. All right. That's it for tonight, guys. A quick rundown. Head over to the website, the partners page, get your plan. Get your plan ahead of time about how you're going to send the coins to the exchange, because fees are expensive. The blockchain might be having issues, like Bitcoin are backlogged. The wallets, that you're setting it to. You know, the exchange might be down. Have 2 or 3 plans on how you're going to get your coins to the exchange. Is it pick up the phone and ring anyone? You know, Ainsley Bullion, FTX, CoinSpot. All these places have got OTC services these days, as well as the order books and the actual exchange. Troy's indicator is coming along well. More news on that very, very soon. And for those of you that have been waiting for a dip, time to step up. ETH BTC going up. That is good news. That's what we want. This is money rotating out of Bitcoin and into ETH. Ooh, that is delicious. ETH holding steady while Bitcoin falls. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there, guys. And let's see if we get a nice bounce here. And if we get some money rotating into Ethereum and alts. Cool. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video around, and I will talk to you again soon. Members, another write-up coming tomorrow. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing if this is time for some alt season. Bitcoin dominance falling. ETH BTC looking nice, and Ethereum holding ground. Wow, this is exciting times. The next phase of the bull market for those of you who are going through your first market cycle. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.